Hello, everyone. Welcome to stream. And now, final case. Enjoy. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. We're gonna begin, guys. We have a lot to read today, but we're gonna finish this today. Here we go. Sorry, my learned friend, but that is not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at Windibanks. As this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Hey, Captain Chips, what's up? How you doing? How was your day? Do anything cool or interesting in the slightest? And you're the first. Woo! Ah! First, in every way, shape, or form. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibanks Pawnbrokery. Hey, Eliza, what's up? You're second. And an ad. Oh no. And the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? Red Bull gives you wings? Alright, welcome back, Eliza. I'm glad you enjoyed your ad, your Red Bull ad. Good to see you today. Hope all is well. What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? Internet is kinda bad. Oh no. You're on the bus? What are you doing on a bus? A bus to the mall? I wish. I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article has been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed. That witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this Graydon fella needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you please be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrollable. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibanks Pawnbrokery. It's 3 a.m. No, not to the mall. Oh, work. Oh, geez. That's early. That's really early. I wish you luck, Eliza, with your, work. And rest assured the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Hurley's red-handed recorders again! As previously explained using this plan of the shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windibank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for safe once forfeited. According to the information on the ticket, the gilded small box had been forfeited already. 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13th of April to be precise, which means it would have been out on the shelves of forfeited items on the front. You took the train, but the route is cancelled today. Oh man, the trains are awesome though. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it at least. But the train... That at 11 p.m. on the 15th of April. The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see, so we have 2 pictures to compare. Really quiet though. That's a good thing, just a nice quiet drive. Would be good. Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard we consider theft as one possible motive for this case. I'm doing good though. I'm trying to get through this as much as possible, because I'm gonna finish this game today, so we might go over. But yeah, I'm reading as goodly as I can. But I'm doing good, thank you. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So you men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. Yay, I know we're gonna finish it today. We counted every single item on each of these 2 photographic prints. And the yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Arrgh! I don't believe it. If I could just have shown that he's stolen McGilt's pawn box, I might have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these 2 photographs really are exactly the same. What? So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that in fact on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these 2 photographic prints somewhere? I'm gonna say... Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Oh man, I don't even know where I am right now. Box before, search it for the box. You know what they're thinking. Okay, it doesn't... Oh, it says multiple things. Use a piece of evidence. Did they ever track down Sholmes's Strad? What's that? What's a Strad? How you doing, Hedgewolf? Good to see you today. Before I give my answer, my lord, I'd like to try something if I may. Try something? What do you mean, counsel? I need to use a certain piece of evidence from the court record to identify the discrepancy. Oh, violin? Yep, he got it back. He got it back, like, a while ago. I'm not entirely sure I follow. What piece of evidence do you intend to use to help you identify a discrepancy between the 2 prints? How about... This. This. I like to use this device, my lord, to view the 2 prints stereoscopically. Oh, yes, you've caught the bug at last. You can't resist it, can you? You've got the cross-side compulsion. Juror number 3, what a surprise. Come on, Runo. Let's put the pictures in place and see what this wonderful contraption shows us. Short for Stradivarius, and you're doing goods. I'm doing well. I was Hollow Knight today. I was lurking for a bit, but I was busy. I was busy at being at Five Guys. There we go, now look through the eyepiece. I wasn't sure at first, but there's a clear discrepancy between these 2 prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak. Alright, if it's not the thing that's shown, I'm gonna call the cops.
Take that!
Granted, these 2 prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. You got the teacher and unlocked a circus. Ooh, nice. Gotta love circuses. What? When you view the 2 pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out as being different, the location of this small box. Let me... wait. Unbelievable! By Jove, you're right! How extraordinary! What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact... Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen, which means, quite simply, that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Alright, McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But does the fact that it was moved like that change things? It changes everything. I believe this changes everything about the case. Oh, give me a second. Okay. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was the small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside the box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windibanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. Time passes. Much staring is going on. Do you think we have our murderer, guys, by the way? Do we have him? We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks? This is nothing but a smokescreen, a Nipponese speciality, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such a commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGildens perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which he was established that he was the upstanding member of society. His reputation implied, in fact. Please throw it into the candles over there. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets, and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. Hey, Blue Thunder! How you doing? You know, that does make rather a lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows Mr. McGilda was rich enough. You could deposit cash at a pawnbrokery, I'm quite certain of that. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. Yay! To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. I'm doing good, Blue Thunder. I'm still full, by the way, little fun fact. If you eat at Five Guys, you'll be full the rest of the day. You'll be good to go. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstratable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case? Well, what's the matter, Runo? We know they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGilded's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to this court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilded's article 2 months ago was a mistake. That's the defense's argument, was flawed, based on false information. Oh no! And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. But Ginny... Could it be that Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he's anticipated everything? But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry, what do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? So, sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilda deposited with Mr. Windibank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? That would be have Gina do the testify thing. Okay, my lord, so the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? While the counsel awaits the arrival of Mr. McGildered's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Windibanks by Mr. McGildered, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain this last remark? Hey, DJ Drone. Update for the virtual game cards thing? Is it a good update? Or a not good one? Prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well, if you have no objection. Seems cool. I hope so. I really hope so. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Your witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. All right then, Gina, it's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Runo. Alright. The articles that Mr. McGilder has deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related to the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in the courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGildered. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now, here we all are again, the same players in the trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. BRB, alrighty. I'll see you soon. Apart from the victim, there was only one other passenger in the carriage, Mr. McGildered. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder, in fact, took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGildered died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on, as indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade? Would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But... Remember, little girl. If it transpires that you willingly withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, then the Home Office will seek to persecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts. You have little credibility to lose. Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. Iris? We're on your side. Alright then. I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilded's pawn articles and that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets to which we have seen hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it then. Everything's going to come out, like Van Zeek said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Oh, darn it, I forgot. I thought we were doing the cross-examining part. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me head, and the pair on the roof deck went off to call the cops, the slops. That's when McGilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop round about. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one what I'd seen or heard. Good grief, this is outrageous! What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in McGilded's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without a doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial of this witness and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. The McGilded fellow was rotten to the core, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget that lawyer from the east. They were all in on it together. You're wrong, the lot of ya. Mr. Nara Odo, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? Really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop. Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of Mr. McGilded's pawn articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of the calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may be well worth hearing. Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. The thing says to do it here.
Hold it!
So let's do it. The pawn shop obviously being Winnebaker's on Baker Street? Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks. McGilded took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all careful-like, before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remembered thinking, That coat and what's in it has gotta be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy with the begilded flesh, some brash in his face. Went running off. Lick. What's going on over here? What's going on over here, guys?
Excuse me.
Is there something you'd like to share with the court? Inspector! Mr. Graydon! Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? But pull the other one, Sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shitty gent like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. You will kindly refrain from talking amongst yourselves while the witness is giving testimony. Yes, sorry, my lord. What were those two talking about? Miss Lestrade, continue with your testimony, please. Alright, now we have to do them all, I think.
Hold it!
And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed that Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well. If I had to say... I think it was about money or something. They keep talking about buying and not buying. Alright, give me a second. Okay, buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind? Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. Started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And then, all of a sudden, I heard the noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was bloomin' loud and all. And I believe you let out an involuntary scream? Yeah, that's what gave me away. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw the disc on the floor.
Hold it!
Her voice keeps changing. What was the disc you saw? This disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove, lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat by the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me loads of questions, like what me name was and where I lived and all that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise. Rapping? There was rap music? All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me head on the roof deck with the slaps. There were two gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGilda got me out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came into an halt, the two covers from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. They immediately left to fetch the police. It would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So they left McGilded, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there, because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes? He also testified in the trial, I believe. Mr. Cold Guy. Fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. What did McGilded and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened, and stuff like that mainly.
Hold it!
Threaten you? How exactly? Told me I'm only be able to scupper if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was... He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop, and he made sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in log to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilded have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. With what McGilded had the driver's deposit at Windibanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I liked it before the copper showed up. Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. She's really put her faith in you, Uno. Yes, and I thank her. Need to use the time we have now. Maybe we gotta do the fourth one again.
Hold it!
I technically didn't finish that one, so we'll just get through that one real quick. We kind of interrupted those two over there, speaking. The driver looked pretty happy when McGilded flashed some brass in his face and went running off a lick. The box rider called me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on the night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc, however, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilded's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the cove died right after his trial. I knew that. You decided that you would try to claim the articles as your own. Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got 'em? Anyway, can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably gonna sell it. You can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord. The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. A mysterious little box deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind if there's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. On to the final of the chapters, everyone. Yay! There it is. So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, quick! Let's open it and see what's inside! Machine. Murray. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow, although in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device from the playback of the disc, my lord. So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc, deposited at Windibanks at that much the same time. That's strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why? For heaven's sake! Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Objection! Hey, stars. How you doing today? Welcome to the finale of first game, maybe, hopefully. Wait, my lord. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in this courtroom with some silly bit of music.
Objection.
I'm doing good, thanks. All is well here. I'm glad you're doing good, too. This disc may very well have motivated to the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't... Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored, and you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Guard! No further delays, please. Play the disc. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Morse code. Ooh, maybe. Or are they playing this side with the name tag? I think it's the underside that's being played. Maybe? I don't know. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on. Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? No way. I'm gonna ignore what you said, Hedgewolf, and just choose no way, and then lose the case. Nah, I think it's a clue. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel, mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. Worth. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh! Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... broken. An unusual genre of music. What type of music would this be? one-note tune. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Grey Dun's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Hee hee, making deductions based on how many people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo. Am I the weird one for recognizing Morse code? Nah. Is Morse code even, like, recognized at all in the world these days? I don't know, to be honest. I never knew it. The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. Morse code still weirdly used. Probably dash, dot, 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 dash, dash. Thanks for excitement. Covert communications. Exciting covert communications is. They've got me. They don't know what the answer is yet. Runo? I have just examined the music box very thoroughly, and I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really, the way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend present proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then, this could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. If I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sound on this music box disc is... Boop, 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 boop. Today's paper. Today's paper, Counsel? The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pickpocket Plunder. Highly supportive of your cause. Ah, no, my lord, I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter, being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to the various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Give me a second, guys. Okay. Whatever is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. It bears no more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Ho ho. Order, please everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council. This deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign government's confidential information, our hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGild perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry, because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night, because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous, absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in the trial is murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank, that being the most flagitious offense for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may... What? You gotta let us have the rabbit and pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We what they call... the three Skulkin brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. Those guys. Alright. A mere communications offer, can it possibly steal confidential government information? Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with Mr. McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the gas cell the other night, just like what he told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? One Mr.'ll do, Governor. What's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of three, in collaboration with Mr. Graydon there? We did, Gov. We did. Well, quiet down, please. What do you say to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. Never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer who stopped it was, A poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it to the court record as evidence. Cool. How's this going to affect the detective's job? You think doesn't look good? Yeah, might be looking kinda bad. I'm gonna press statement 2, guys.
Hold it!
They're not? To anyone with a brain, they would be blatantly apparent on listening to the music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. Ha ha ha. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so familiar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in future. Ah, stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris? I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked to using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code? Give it a try. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. The length is the length of the rag. It's the length of the rag. And the defense, the belief of the defense at least. Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to read Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then, what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to decipher secret messages into Morse code? Alright. You apparently need to look here. Okay?
Got it!
Yes, this is it then. It appears you know what's coming, counsel. Clearly that was an answer given in desperation by floundering his argument. Wow! Okay, the guide is lying then. Awesome! Thank you! Do I have to, examine it maybe? Maybe you have to examine it first. Yeah. Alright, we'll examine it real quick then. Hey, there's a hole here. Oh, what is it, Runo? I've just noticed something about this music box. Looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open it. Alright then, here goes. Look at that, there's another movement on the underside. So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back into this side? Yes, I think so. Looks like the 2 movements are linked together. They're linked? So if you had 2 discs, they would be play back at the same time. Aha! 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 Whoops! 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 Whoops!
Hold it!
Alright, this is a lot of dialogue to get through again. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Alright, let's give it a save right here, guys. Give me a second, guys. Oh. Oh boy. Alright, give it a try.
Objection!
So I guess we have to open it first, maybe. And then maybe we gotta examine.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens! As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two note tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, the music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilder 2 months ago, striking a deal over the discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere. I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Rue, no? You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, though, I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Alright. Give me a second, guys. I guess we need to do the fourth statement. Let me read this again. Pursue statement 4. Press statement 4 and pursue Ringo. So here.
Hold it!
Okay. Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it. Yeah, who else, eh? Silly me, though, he was popping over for the natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Yeah, Ash? Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sociable. Sure, let's say Graydon's an old China. What?
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash, I mean. You look at him now and his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of the town, just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy, always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Gor blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Miltervan and Sulkin's milk run? That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back into the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add it to the testimony. My lord? Yes, counsel? The brothers' last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more. Skulkin's never... Skulkin? Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run. Gore, those were the days.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. Suppose since we're here, we should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The business name. So this business was just a bit of fun, you say, and it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Miss Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh, right. I thought a clever clogs like you have worked that out. That one out, that is... Whoa. Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... Let me guess, you don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that when... Tell me, why is it that when... That it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? But because well... It weren't the happiest homes that no one came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. How many fake names can a guy have before he gets arrested for identity theft? All of them. Every single name ever. You were born Ashley Milverton, then? Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important. Okay. Now, all of a sudden we seem to be up our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about intercepting of secret government messages is still conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiations Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago, the break-in at Windibanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. Yeah, except there is a thing, though. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think we have our connection, by the way. There it is.
Objection!
Yay! Mr. Ashley Milverton, tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord, and as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with with McGilded. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker? That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, is not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? Ugh, I don't... As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. Grrr. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to Mr. McGilded in collaboration with your father. Ag! The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. They could have created their own code using the sounds, so you can't say the music box sounds are automatically useless. Maybe. I don't know anything about that stuff, but we'll say maybe that could happen. By dint of the music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it to Mr. Anonymous McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I should have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. I shouldn't have. The Morse code exists, it's in theory possible, just saying. It could be. Would be tough, but it would be. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learnt of the situation, he appeared at Windibank's 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed, the intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item, and one item alone, the music box. As rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera indeed. So, the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was the only one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this is actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ah! 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbrokery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes's waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Tisk. Don't acknowledge my presence here there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. How unfortunate you lost a fight with this jacket. I know, right? This jacket has told everything. Hee. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid this par 10 guineas to accompany me, or pair, and as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. Since we know, would he be allowed to stay here then? But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. You're not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has established a crucial fact. Which is... well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. Grrr. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night, it's you.
Hold it!
Quite rude, good sir, to refer to these young men as basically back alley thieves. They do still hold loyalty to Britain. Yeah, that's something. That's a good takeaway. You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I built for myself at the communication station. But did the thought never cross my mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in the case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Or whatever country this is. It's Britain, I think. I'm pretty sure. Would have been better for hiding secrets. Too late now. Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You... what? Order! Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If this is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony at once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Oh boy. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pushed the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. Such a lying idiot who would trust a man who spent the last several hours lying. I guess some of the court people would. Hehe. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Why would you do that? Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary. Testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger? Order, order, order! It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is my intent to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered over by the accused's coat. Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideas are no use to us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as a basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship's permission, we could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Runo. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. If they test it with their chemicals... Oh, help. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. Bang. Gross. That's not Mr. Windibank's blood. The stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Lord Van Zeeks, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel? Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination. Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, if I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Alright. No. 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 Yes.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over. Over where exactly? In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor at my side of the door. But why on earth would she do such a thing? I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there, in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. I left this clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up? We'd make a bit of mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistle and Flute here told us to tidy up. He thinks it's our blooming mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Hey, Glitch Gaming. W Game Ultima. You know what I like about this game? I like the candles on my side. How they're nice and not full of wine juice. But welcome to the stream, Glitch Gaming. Welcome to the Ace Attorneys. How you doing today? Was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate, aren't you? Oh, what is going on here now?
Excuse me.
Gentlemen. Ha, 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 ha. I'm doing good, thanks. I'm gonna finish this game today, Glitch Gaming. You kind of went to the end of the game, but I hope you enjoy what I have to read to you. Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. Do you realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin? Blimey, this D is a bit of an ooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him. He grabbed me whistle. Why the blazes, he said. Didn't you mention the third gun when you got you down to the station? Would the detective get in trouble for shaking that guy, by the way? On the stand? And why didn't you? 'Cause we didn't know nothing about it, or the flaming people in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to lose my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you? He is sweating really badly. Why do people constantly commit crimes in the courtrooms of these games? Harassing the witness. Literally, like shaking and harassing the witness. Gor blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling ya, this D is giving me the willies. That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He would normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Greg Z at all. He's normally all sweetness and legit and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be the special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. He's been acting out of character this whole game. This whole case. What's your feeling, Runo? As much as I hate to admit it, I don't see any obvious holes in his testimony at the moment. We have to find a way to break this man, and quickly too, because once they discover the blood on the overcoat Gina was wearing... It's a bit strange that he's so sure of himself about seeing the blood splatter over Ginny's coat. He doesn't strike me as the sort of thing you'd claim if you had generally seen it happen. We know that Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank, so what's going on? All I know is that it's very unfair. Should some German scientist test be acceptable as evidence when mine and Hurley's wasn't? Detectives can use test tubes too. Never mind that, I have to find a really stark inconsistency in this testimony somewhere, but to find it before the prosecution discovers the bloodstain on Gina's coat. Alright, give me a second, guys. Okay. I guess we just, cross-examine, or just press everything.
Hold it!
Mr. Windibank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I was too close. I've never been so scared in all me life. Yeah, we were just your regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence. Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in this doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went in for Nash in the first place, and Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. What is this game about, Ultima? It's, you're a defense lawyer, and you're trying to prove your client guilty, or not guilty, wow, innocent. Innocent and not a murderer, while trying to find the murderer at the same time. And, They're really good. The stories are excellent in these games. Everyone seemed to be related to illegal activity. What are the courts doing? Good question. It's like that's a thing in this game. I was trying to help me, little bruv, but the old geezer chucked me over the bloomin' counter. So I pulled me gun on the old fella, and that soon made him scamper. The pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you! Looks really fun, you might play it one day. Play the first one first. Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. That's the first game. That'll prove if you really like it or not. Sorry, Gov. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. You mean at the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the three men were brawling. It was at exactly the moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windibank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well, now, I don't imagine he ever noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps this gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. When I pulled me gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way, and then he scarpered through that door out back. At which point, what did you do? I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see it through the people in the door, though. You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this people in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom door's a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening in it about head height that lets you see what's in there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? Looked through it myself that night. And what about you burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through the peephole as well? Not likely, Gov. Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov. I doubt these two buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windibank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there. The defendant? Yes, though neither of them noticed I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next? The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety.
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with the gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Windibank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. Ah, but no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windibank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to have been a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Ha 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 ha. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry? You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run, and it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back. A chilling image, I must say. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. All over her? Yes, through the peephole, I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, what with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it is sullied with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Windibank's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago. It's so annoying. If only they'd accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't, so unfortunately we can't use it as evidence to support our case. Bother. Son of a... My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Right. Explain yourself, officer. I have the result of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord. Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were from the result of spattering, followed by a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me. See? What did I tell you?
Objection!
No, the blood on that coat is not Mr. Windibank's. What on earth makes you say that, counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibank's, Miss McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection!
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for McGilded's innocence, and yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect that you may have earned for yourself in this country. But that was... I call it a bally disgrace, treachery, that's what it is. How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. It can't be done. But, we use Mr. Sholmes' specially formulated chemical. Mr. Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out Perowski to Starving Boy, and he ran away crying. Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that, in fact, is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Arg! Uh-oh. My lord, been a long battle this one, but this old warhouse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman? As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now. Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Crap. All I can say is crap. Well, it would appear that ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. He got knocked out with the truth? I guess so. Or whatever the truth was. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you make in unpicking the jury's decision being equally successful. Wag! I don't believe it. After I've come so far, Wait for Zeeks to break this glass. Or shatter it. Break or shatter? What will he do? Toss or just crush? How is it all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer? Officer? You've delivered the report now. That will be all. Thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Mr. Sholmes! What is the meaning of this? Order! What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in the hospital. As well as I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Hurley, it's really you! You wake at last! Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. This appearance would get the entire case thrown out, lol. This entire case? Not this time. Thank goodness. Now, my lord, if you will humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of a great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time? What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already. Exactly. Having spent so long already, we don't want to go wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Very well then. Counsel, you have 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you all right now? All right, I'm all wrong. Sorry. I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I've asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me, should I pass out? Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Or your chemical romance. Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community, an oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhanded, and that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are, won't find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san. Whatever could it be? What is this? Oh! It's the machine I made. You know, the cat thing. Meow. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention. What? What is that? I call it the cat flap-o-mat. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. What's Susie up to? Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Windibank in pursuit of the thieves, Miss Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Susato-san used this cat flapomat that night, but why? Ooh. Getting any ideas, guys? There it goes. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. You think you're tuned out? Oh no. We'll get you back in, don't worry. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me? Need to be careful here. If I make the wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... Be sure to pick this. Further cross-examination. Not much is going on. Gotcha. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine the new witness now. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. There's so much is going on, rather. My lord. Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. So nobody can say anything then. If Bruno asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd! I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of a cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence that to present in support of your argument against it. A single chance to present evidence. If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Thud. Mr. Sholmes! That was very dramatic. Most dramatic fainting ever. To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fervor. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little right now, The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down, or Iris. And I won't waste the final chance that Susato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Good night, Ultima. Good night, Glitch Gaming. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow, or the next day, or someday. Thanks for stopping on by. It was good to see you here, at long last. If you're going to faint, do it with style. Oh yes, that's how I want to faint. No prob. See ya! I'll let you know if we won or not. No. No. Yes. It's statement 3, actually.
Objection!
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, counsel? Give me a second. Okay. What on earth is that eccentric contraption? Oh, it's my cat flapper mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. How do you want to faint, sir? Epically. As epically as possible. With an epic JoJo pose. It can cut through any door you can think of and makes a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners having to open the door. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. Ah! But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way, then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windibank has taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Give me a second. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see the inside of the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as myself in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes, how could you? What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean. Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such a time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No!
Objection!
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device. Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? This is a most serious act of vandalism. For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel! The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to be... incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Give me a second again, guys. Okay. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, There's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. Grrr. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Order! Is there any credence to this in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yes. I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. Haha, I had a feeling you'd say that. What? Waggy, cooey, time for dinner. Well, how in trouble is Iris, guys? Ah, young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey. I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean that the peephole in the storeroom door at Windibank was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. You're thinking that's not okay? Yeah, I think that might be bad. For Iris there. What? The cat flaps my flapomat creates are all of a fixed size, and the dimensions of the peephole at Windibanks are an exact match. Hee hee, old Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Highland home. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the peephole had dimensions that are perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device, but now that the perpetrator had returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. What? Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel, don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. You had to tune in just in case. Just in case this is the same case. Yep, still the same case. Cases go on for a long time, Glitch Gaming. A long time sometimes. This particular one takes 10 hours to beat. Almost 10 hours. So we're in this for the long haul. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Welcome back, by the way. Welcome back! Very well, the counsel for the defense will present an evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peephole in the door of Windibank's storeroom was created after the event and not before. Huh? Yeah, these go on for a long time. Especially the last cases of games. Since we're on the last game, the last case in this game, it's gonna be a long one. So give me a second, guys. Here we go. Photograph of Gina.
Take that!
What are you? A print from the detective's infernal cameras again? 10 hours. 10 hours. This might be the longest one, actually. Is it the longest one, guys? Have I said there was a longer one? But yeah, this one goes on for a while. And that's if you're playing good, too. My judicial assistant, Miss Susato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. The shortest case is like 30 minutes, by the way. Maybe even less than 30 minutes. So, Keep that in mind. And the necessary proof is this photographic print, Counsel? This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. Thank God. This is a game that never ends, sarcastically. Game that never ends. But more to the point, its picture is the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole in any description. 5-streak thing. Wow! Must be fun. Oh, it is fun. This is one of my favorite game series of all time. Only one of them. Ag! Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at this time it had happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Wag! Hey! Order! I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony is entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we now know is beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. But more importantly, good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zeeks? The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury, but that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Ultima can do this in an hour. He's a speedrunner. I'm gonna try. Good golly, I'm gonna try, Glitch Gaming. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No! I don't believe this, but they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris, you know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Runo? As Hurley always says. One lie begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Bang. If Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? When you said in your testimony, reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court and explain this alleged inconsistency? Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witness's statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, the bloodstains. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrad's coat. That's right, the victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the... The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie that you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously, arg! Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of pawn articles and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door. How on earth is that possible? Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you, permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. And not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony, and in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be. Maybe Mr. Detective needed a lawyer too. Maybe. Who is the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? Sadly, guys, as much as it pains me to say it, it's you.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned it only during the course of the trial today. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with the great urgency during our long-hour recess. Yeah, sorry, Hedgewolf. It's true. While the police executed a subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station, and until that time, Mr. Graydon would have no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such a time as he was summoned? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume that he knew nothing of the peephole. Ultima, do you usually do multiple parts of the case? If they are the long ones? Yes, I do. I normally stream for 3 hours at night, each and every night. Each and every night is a 3-hour stream. And wherever the case lands is where I stop, when the 3-hour mark hits. And he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received this information? So that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin? Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Have you forgotten that? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Oh, I've just remembered something, Bruno. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying. Oh yes, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatching to retrieve McGilded's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during the testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then. You little tow rag, you're making this all up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, Counsel? I wonder if perhaps in exchange for the details about the people of the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Well, I...
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations in this Nipponese student's speciality. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present the evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? That would be... right here.
Take that!
Inspector Gregson? Besides this murder, it is not true that you've been working on another very important case. Good looking out, Ultima. Make sure you stay hydrated. Yes, I will try. I'm gonna be needing a lot of water after this trial. What are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. Now, how in the bleeding Nora could you... We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at Windibanks by Magnus McGilded, a special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in Mr. McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. You little... Arrgh! Alright, order! On the day of the incident, when we met you at the Windibanks, you said this. I'll be taking that whatever it is in McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine! But he didn't have permission, did he? Ooh, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Mr. McGilded has to be taken in as of evidence now. Scotland Yard already knew at the time that isn't that right? That Magnus McGilded was involved in the stealing of the government secrets. My orders were to recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume, because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't for sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No, gah! But does it look like everybody is the bad guy in this game? Because they are. Everyone's a bad guy. Technically, the ones on the stand are, I guess, bad guys. The two other people are actual thieves. And this guy's just the prosecutor. He always looks, like, angry. If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious, then you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes!
The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before, and Gregsy hasn't moved from the witness stand once, or since. My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? If they're not with you, they're against you. Yep. This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me and my profession quite enough. However, if it'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search. What? He's going to agree to it? I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You made the most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found... Bro just casually eating while this is a murder case. Yeah, he just eats and eats. His fish and chips. You will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. It sounds serious. Indeed, to have a visiting student to make such a defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook. You're just threatening Bruno because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. Not hungry, he needs food. It's his fuel. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Very well, counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting the search of an inspector's personal effects? Search someone else. Yes, the defense formally demands the search to be conducted. Well, don't say you weren't warned, but your typical Nippony stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough, I've got nothing to hide. Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal effects, please. Defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? Now, what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Honestly, if they did their jobs better, they never would have gotten involved. Yep, that's how it goes. Be quiet, all of you! Bruno's doing what you all told him to do and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense's counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words. You what? Now don't be hasty, my lord. If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has the disc at the moment. There's only one person who it can be. Counsel, whom do you request the search now? It is none other than... Nash Skulkin.
Take that!
My lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin. Well, I never. Blimey. Me? Him? You would say it's an amazing show to watch. I know. Isn't this great? It's fun to read, too. Well then, bailiff, restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it!
Please, my lord. Inspector? Scotland Yard, has to object to this search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Zeeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Arg! Round and round they go. Yep. Bailiff, carry out the search! Now, hold on a mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Ah! Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this. Good lord, that's another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it, nothing. That is the second music box disc left behind. It is not Is it not Inspector Gregson? Give me a second. Okay. Arg, arg. Like a carousel. This carousel. Order, order, order! Mr. Skulkin, what have you decided for yourself? Gordon Bennett, just Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God. Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck between this witness and this detective, no? Without a question, my lord. Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Poor guy, so embarrassed. Yeah. Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who really loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit to nothing of the sort. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, he did all that. Thought me noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I had been born as me brother, I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He was just suddenly turned and grabbed me whistle like that and started shaking me. Why in blazes did he mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? That's what he said. I yelled it down the ear, he did. Me head's still throbbing now. That way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character, but looking back now, it must have been that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig, he hid it? You... But I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. The detective had acquired the disc he was after. Why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. My orders were, recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the Ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. Hush-hush? A top-secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Ah, does this mean... He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket. So it was all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon, are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Family of thieves, of course he can slip stuff in other pockets. I guess so. Admit to it, yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon, clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with a detective, all of it is in this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... What? Up against the wall again. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? You admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public in this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light to when you're making your decisions. This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary stimuluses in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well now, as a fellow servant of Queen and country, I will say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurry to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're going to believe Gregson. They declare their decision now. Is Jenny going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. Either some proof that Graydon didn't kill Mr. Windibank or stole their government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Could be putting this case on hold? Maybe. I'm not sure. Well then, counsel, I think it's time I impose on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. If I let this judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gina will be found guilty. There's no choice then, Runo. You have to throw some more evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? That would be... Inspector Gregson. Inspector Gregson, there's one more final piece of evidence I would like you to see. What's that then? If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, you should leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Graydon. Alright, guys. The final attack. The final, evidence. Go! Is that Mr. Gilded's particular music box, Counsel? Yes, with the disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just uncovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc, Counsel? No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? But because, well, because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection.
Not true, Inspector. The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message, and now we have a chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. You go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason. Then do you admit to the charge that in order to protect those state secrets, you engage in unlawful dealings with the witness? You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making the enemy of the entire British government, you idiot.
Objection.
Don't know anything, but this is so messy. I know. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Van Zeeks, for Pete's sake, stop him!
Objection.
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Urgh. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth. By fair means or foul. No! Very well. The defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. What's he supposed to do? Gregson. This time with the second disc in place, as both discs playing simultaneously. There it is. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code. All right, I admit it. Whatever you want, but for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? I did. Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said, when the trial resumed after the recess and we stood here in this stand together. That's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbrokery the other day, aren't you? I may have something that you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? Suggest you accept. Or information that you make that makes certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances, so I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door, and the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. I did, but then it turned out the peephole had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, so if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing, and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime, namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windibank. Nah, you? Traitor! Someone get him. Maybe. Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! That's it then. It's all over. I despised my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. Oh look, more things that would cause legal issues. Oh yeah. Aside from being the murderer, I think that would make him stay a few more years. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had were never spent on me. So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. What is the security's reaction if he doesn't even notice them fighting? I guess he gets choked the bloop out, huh? Choke the bloopity out. But then you decided to try to sell government secrets. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me up in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who's lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You're a fiend with a queer talent, so you are. I have money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable, by using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. So he broke the law for money just to get a job, if it's that bad? Well, just for money in general and stuff. I imagine his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you become, eh? He was a different man to the ones in my memory, a thin, frail old man. The poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine who has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are 2, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch me my tools. Would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had him make the 2 discs. Thereby splitting the information in 2. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the first 2 discs in the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas, and on receipt of the second disc he would pay 1,000 guineas. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of the deal the exchange on the second disc? Yes. I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon, for why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself? What year is this based on? I'm not sure, actually. It's way in the past, I know that much. Like, way, way in the past. That's why there's omnibuses and old-style things. But the Seppi music doesn't make that he was in the wrong. Cause it's feelsy wrong music. I guess. When I received the 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc that I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name to exact revenge. Revenge? As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. A trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago, and knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself has shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in his courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered that justice that monster deserved. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. Dreams? I guess everyone has them. Yep, everyone has the dreams is. McGilded's death that day was caused by this man. Everything is ready, sir, if you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. Hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again? That's right, an imposter, hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterize the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Quite clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now! What an ingenious little invention! So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Windibank's pawnbrokery? Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fee in the watchword. I put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guinea if you sell it, so it will. I never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. By being a good person, the best choice to no one plots to kill the innocent usually anyways. Yeah. How have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. So I knew that if he'd taken the steps to hide the disc, it would be at the pawnbrokery somewhere, and that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now. That was when we first met you at Windibanks that afternoon 2 days ago. You had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial, the pickpocket testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilded's pawns, that she must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I have a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork when the redemption deadline. He was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Windibanks to redeem the articles, but unfortunately she remembered only Mr. McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box was the second disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. This is so deep into his life. It is. Very deep. We're learning the secrets of the case. Sholmes had the same opinion. Yeah. But I was unawares of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets were progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector, you've recovered fast. The orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. We started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector there took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure that music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box that sold to McGilded, and the shelves are forfeited articles, and the second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief, but then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Bang! Graydon would have been a great man if he did not get into the life of being a criminal. I know. It's that McGilded guy that got him into it. He's the real, jerk. A gunshot rang out in the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Bang. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. A sorry, sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo ever even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windibanks on that wretched night. Is Sholmes Sherlock Holmes? Something like that, yeah. His name is Sherlock Sholmes in this one. For some reason. Whew. Earlier, you called McGilded a monster, a man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What a tragic irony, for what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Maybe copyright reasons? Maybe. That might be the reason. Yes, I think I have. Whew. Very true, Edgewolf. Sorry, I don't mean to, not read your dialogue. There's still a lot of game to play, so I'm trying to read this as fast as I can. Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. You find too many words. Way too many words. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windibank and the stealing of government secrets. Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. The fact remains whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Ah, yeah? It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Garadeb's squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now? The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Woohoo! Objection? What, Hedgewolf? No! If it took 10 hours for one case, would be crazy if it was IRL, but this is a murder case. Yeah, I don't know how long cases last in real life, actually. That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Runo, you finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure that we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. Miss Lestrade, I am now not finished with you just yet. Eh? What? What are you looking at me like for? Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider, Eh? 2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windibank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilden's property, it seems. Eh? You never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilden's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Bro going to jail. Yeah. Sadly. Aw, and just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening. And turning our attention to the defense. Determining that, when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel. Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast to demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Huh? Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit what he'd done, so... If I may say something on that point, isn't that... It's, about the sound produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, madam? Oh, well, it's not just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madam, an unhealthy level of obsession one feels. But I must say that, in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain misleading secrets, sunshine. False testament led to McGiddles. I think that's his name. McGilded. Close enough. McGiddled. This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGilded conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies. Secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue this matter further. But it's really going to bother me. Miss Lestrade? Yeah, me lord. That which you have seen today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsifying evidence and intimidation, perjury, a grim catalogue of depravity. Six wants to see Runo in trouble. Yep. An appalling experience to befall any child. Come on, ain't nothing I done see most days in the back slums. I beg your pardon? If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. But look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want to change, you've got to start at home. You got to change how you are yourself. A bad law enforcement and law and order also. Oh yeah, for sure. That's a very laudable lesson, I would say. Eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade never gracing my courtrooms with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windibank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendants, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty! Yay! In this case... Oh... She should not be doing that, but this case is done. Thanks. Not defendant, I'm the defense attorney. I'm the one that does the objective. Is it though? Is it though? No, not really. That is all. Court is adjourned. This all seems off. Wait a minute. On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my far eastern friend. Ah? Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time, saw through the grim to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. He was right. Why are they still in the courtroom? For their final talkings, or something. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one very simple reason, to lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope that you look into the eyes of the man I once knew, and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask, and one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Alright, then I'll wait for that day, if I must. You're right, Captain Chips, there is more to his thing. Also, might turn into a bad guy after this case. Nah, I'm gonna turn into a more of a defense attorney. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey and my retirement from service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again. Wrong game, probably. Wrong game. I'll be a criminal in some other game, I bet. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Ah! Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naraoto. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean, properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All me life growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, is this the last case? Yes and no. You'll see what I mean when, the game ends. Hehe. After all, I had a taste of it in the trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently, too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. When your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. I already know what you mean, Ultima. But do you, though? For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean, Kazuma. Am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believe I could be? Pardon the interruption. Ryunosuke will be accused of murder again. Oh, Ryuno. Where's the ninja? Is this guy a ninja? Or what in the ninja is this guy a ninja? Nope, he was the main character's best friend. And he's sadly dead. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? That voice! It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along, I would have said, when finally you noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling. Ah, but Mr. Sholmes. Yes, it was me all along, you see. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I'd assume you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happened to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. I forgot to ask, guys, where on the kill this man list would you put, Mr. Graydon? And better yet, where would you put, McGilded? Mr. Sherlock Holmes, what you gonna call this guy? Buddy Sholmes. Sherlock Sholmes. But yeah, how very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? While you were busy, while you've been having us news in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. I hope Sholmes doesn't be a murder trial victim or a witness, not witness, a defendant. But indeed been feeling somewhat cold, not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And, in some way, I suppose congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. Holmes is never going to be a murderer. I hope not, at least. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes, not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Cause anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working with winds up dead anyway, is that it? The very point I was trying to make, as exemplified by the fact that Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, it doesn't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean, like God? Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some covers like that bog-trotter who are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Kind of as the outfit of a engineer or a creator. Kind of, yeah. Well, I ain't like the McGildeds of the world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? A trait in you which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade. Oi, just give it a rest, all right? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been in here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize, but wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room just as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence that you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. So I'm just going to the perpetrator for his own murder. We'll see. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Jenny tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You heard the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offenses. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the bog trotter stuff, what was his lug, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. He will not. Yeah. But diving ain't an offense, it's a job, innit? I don't think so. Still, it's got me thinking, all this, maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Otto? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something that makes them different for him. That's a wonderful idea, Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. Yes, he needs to rest. Hehehe. What is it? Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Gina, and good luck. Odo? Yes? Ag! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto to missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this? I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Ginny. Right. I see. Well... Thanks, Odo. Thank you for everything what you've done, for believing in me. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. I think she likes you. I hope not. I think she's too young. That would be very bad. Shoot or think. Both. There she goes. Wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well. Quite the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I brought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Ugh, not again. Well, what do you say, Bruno, Hurley? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right, if we head to the station immediately. We may still make it in time to wave Susie off. But... there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't... The Greek detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport directors' force... What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria! And yes, I know it's past 3 hours, but we're so close to the ending of this game. That means you need water, Ultima? Yep. Well, there's some water right there, see? Here's some water. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato, where are you? Here, I'll get a drink now. There she is.
Hold it!
Miss Susato, wait. What are you doing? I can do it, Ulti. Kind of looks like the Titanic. It is. It's not actually. It is, though. Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. She's going down to the ocean floor. Oh, not. This is my, assistant, by the way, Glitch Gaming. Just in case you wanted to know. But she's going back home. The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now, so I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law? You? Susato-san? It's Japan, maybe by the outfit. Yep, that's where Naruhodo is from too. We made it to here, though, to England. Would I be correct in assuming? It's because of the peephole, Miss Susato. I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Poor Dad, yeah, her dad's not doing so good. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. Didn't notice it for ages. I'm gonna guess this game will be over by 3:30. Maybe. Maybe is my guess here. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flap bow mat, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I'd rather forget about it until I found myself in the Mr. Winterbank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Bang. Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo! Right. Roar! After Mr. Naruhodo left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gina was anywhere on the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mine. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So, you used the cat flapperment to make the peephole in the door. As captured as in the photographic print of the shop. by one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of the first importance at point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight of that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Maybe, Hedgewolf. Thoughts that started to run through my mind. I remember that trial 2 months earlier, the trial of Magnus McGilded. Thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. I wish today looked this nice. Yeah, with the nice dock. Then the terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right, but then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have been a way to see behind the door. Huh? For which, a peephole would be the very thing. Only the peephole I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal wouldn't know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police. I know, and I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan. Surely it does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to have knowing tampered with the crime scene. So Miss Susato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone, for your sake and Miss Lestrade's. Miss Susato, the truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that if the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime, but the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Raiden is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too from my regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box disc contained secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo, was a triumph. Well, what a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator. She said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then, we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. At least to help her dad to better health conditions. I know. Her boat needs to leave. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-piped problem, I assure you. Ah? A. So... Gi? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How could you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see? There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added the Morse code to use in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before, but I think it's based on the Iroha program, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says asogi? This is why the detective was worried? Maybe. Probably maybe. Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Mr. Sato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Beats because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version. Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. But what can this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sentence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code, so the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is Kei Asogi, Kazuma Asogi. Why? Why was his name on that disc? The second is A. Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Guregusen. Guregson? Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. And what's his name doing in a secret government communication as well? And the last name... What's the matter, Miss Susato? It's just so strange, so unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. Communication systems, everyday talkative systems, but armies have to use Morse code nowadays. The more you know. The more you know. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communication system kind of between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Runo came from. Oh, well... no, it's not very likely, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windibank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Honk. That's a loud goose, guys. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on the steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France, and I'll change into a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato. The Ultima Goose. He was a suspect in her Iris's dad's murders, then, yeah. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always by my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris, I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Ah! Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Spuria, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well what I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy, Miss Susato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe, no, that I'm sure. I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Farewell until then. Anime cutscene. She likes me.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
There's the violin.
After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Whew. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? It caused such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in the time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything, and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. Huh? 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 It's all right. I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh yes, I love Runo's words, and I know just the one he'll use here. Then, I really must say...
Objection!
And that is the first Great Ace Attorney game, guys. How'd you like it? Did you like? That is so bad. Don't instrument to be close to the water. Probably. But yeah, what'd you guys think? You knew the time. It was cool. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot. Though it transpired I had ordered them all myself, I advised them for sale with my use by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case. And the money I've earned, consulting detective work pays a pittance by comparison. So little fun fact, those in the not know. This is the Great Ace Attorney collection. I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement for some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfast. Is this an anime? There is a Phoenix Wright anime. But no, this is a game, and anime stuff was added. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Really do rare Koban coins hide under rare stakes themselves? Well, Ado Nosa knows his father's an innocent man, or are you calling my son a liar? Witnesses, my courtroom is no place for your petty arguments. But like I said, this is a collection. There is another game in this collection I have. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night, I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I've done nothing wrong. All I did was give one guy's a spring to refuge. Man brings some kittens on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal. It's not fair. But yes, in 2 days I'll be playing the second game. I'll be starting the second game. And little fun fact with that game, by the way, I haven't played it yet. Scientific investigations will be the gold standard for policing in the new age. I dream of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline. Like a great clock, in fact, whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. But yep, I haven't played the second game yet. This game I have played. But the second game, I'll be going in completely blind. Hehehehe. The latest Rants magazine is out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Wanna hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Glug, glug, glug. Her ladyship puts me to shame. It will be ridiculous, I'm sure. Imagine you play as Miles, as Miss Susato. That would be something. That would be a thing. It will be ridiculous in a wonderful way. And visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Joni, my old jailbird. Must say, batting with those bally stares every day has done wonders for this dicky peg. Managed rather well with the housework, too. Got this maid business tapped up, I'd say. Hope the gossip neighbors don't realize the man of the house is his own maid. Poor guy. Whew. Yeah, this stream went on a little bit late, but, you know, that's how the last cases and games go. The streams tend to be longer or shorter. My Rolly is back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking up for Londoners. They're dropping pennies and my lovely wife. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Rose drunk. He's actually sleepy. He hasn't slept in days, actually. I mean, maybe he's drunk, but mostly sleeps. Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about all them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into 'em. It could be because his girlfriend or wife. Yep. The lovely wife. Gina was quite fun, you gotta admit. You. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets? Please. Give over, bruv. This ain't the Ash we used to know. We got time in here to plan and come back of Milturvan and Sulkin's Milk Run, yes? The three Muskewotsits. Milk in the neighborhood for all it's worth. Oh my gosh. That'll show Yoshikage Kira. I mean, Gregson, or Graysden Ashley, or whatever the flip his name is. This past 6 months have been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Naruto-san, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. I'll leave you with that little girl as your assistant this time. No! Ah. Ain't that nice? Whew. What a game, huh, guys? What a game this was. Edgewolf, you've seen a lot of these games, right? How do you think it compares to the other games I played? I'd say it's a little bit weaker than the Ace Attorney games. But it was fun, though. You gotta admit the Ace Attorney games are fun, no matter what. Except for that stupid second case. This would go insane if all the games were put into animes. Oh, that's what's gonna happen in the future. All games will be animus. Whew. And little fun fact, everyone in chat, I already checked, and the next game, Great Ace Attorney 2, has 5 cases. So, just like this one, you've seen 5 cases in the other one, and 5 cases in the next one. For a total of 10 cases. Only a little, but I think it's pretty on par with the others. I'm glad you liked it. I'm a time traveler. Yeah, I'm in the past in this game. Here's all the characters we met along the way. A wild ride for Sir. And I hope another Ace Attorney game comes out. I really do. I love playing these games. Glitch Gaming, I thought you were going to bed, by the way. I hope you won't be, like, in trouble for staying awake this long. Oh, that poor girl there. That poor girl had a unfortunate position in her case of being in the worst case in Ace Attorney history. Oh, your parents know? Alrighty. Glitch Gaming, why are you up this late? I'm listening to some idiot stream Ace Attorney. Oh, some idiot? Alright, fine. Fine. Whatever, bro. Mom and Dad, did you just call me bro? What? But yeah, don't worry, I don't normally stream this long. I only go this long for special circumstances. Very, very special circumstances. Like right now. Like right this second. Those two. And the cold guy. And Mr. McGilded, you son of a beach. Beach. I said beach, guys. Like the ocean beach. I'm not swearing. I don't swear, alright? I've never said a single damn swear word in my lifetime, and I'm never gonna say one ever on the stream. Ah, there's Sholmes. Look at that guy. You said damn? No, I didn't. I never said damn. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. What kind of a damn accusation was that, huh? You just said it? Poppycock. That's insane. Absolutely insane. You don't have the evidence, Glitch Gaming. I mean, you could easily show the evidence, but you have no evidence. So I guess Iris is my assistant in the next game. Or maybe someone else will, for all we know. You'll tune into tomorrow's stream? Alright. I stream twice a day, just to let you know. Twice a day, every day. I'm playing Genshin Impact right now, and tomorrow I'll be playing Castlevania at this time. Okay, not at this time, but earlier in the night. I made so many friends, and so many new enemies as well. But everything must come to an end. I'm still doing a Pokemon marathon. I gotta catch up. Missed like a bunch of things. Special thanks to these bloopers. I mean, to these friend bros. Give us a bow, or just a cool pose. Iris hustling to catch up. Yep. Poor girl. Fiend. Any more? Awarded! I got an achievement for that. Wow! Alright, guys. Tomorrow, we will start... Not tomorrow. In 2 days, we will start The Great Ace Attorney 2. Resolve! Then after that, Adventures. And then Resolve. And then Adventures. And then Resolve. And then... Oh wait, that's just the same games. But yep, good night, guys. Thanks for sticking with me this long. You are all amazing peoples. I love you guys so much. And I'll see all of you on the tomorrows. Bye-bye!